Shadow of the Colossus is a perfect representation of what it means to be an artistic game. It is not the only one worthy of that title. Past and present games are deserving of it. However, what is different with the game was its ability to popularize the formula and to this day maintain one of the highest levels of the execution. In the same way Resident Evil 4 transformed its respective genre and managed to stay ahead for a long time, Shadow of the Colossus performed well for its own case. Let's be honest, the dominant video games is chock full of has-been cinema students looking for legitimacy from the public. One of a number of these creators forget is that each medium has a minimal definition to be considered part of the genre. In the case of video games, we're talking about interactivity. Whether it is combat, puzzles, exploration, or platforming, the player must participate. A book can have the cover at once, but in the end, it's a series of letters on the page. The color of the page can vary, so can the spacing, but a base definition applies. Shadow of the Colossus is an incredible experience that never forgets to be a game. Each aspect is well treated, both superficial and fundamental. If we are to start somewhere, let's begin with the graphics. The game is splendid, but it's not simply pretty to be pretty. May it be graphically or mechanically, the graphical aspects are used outside of simply impressing the observer. A good number of details subsist in a world that's seemingly empty. The animals, for example, are interactable. If the timing is good, an eagle can serve as a planner. Fruit scattered around augment your life bar. There is the idea that immersion must not be broken at all costs. The idea was twisted around and perverted. Some breaks are necessary to convey information, like your life bar getting bigger. Unfortunately, functionality must come before aesthetics, and that's coming from someone who's kinda artsy and likes immersion. It's far more important for the player to understand what is happening than to simply try to preserve a sense of immersion. When you play for long enough, you kind of forget about things like your controller or the life bar. You are immersed if the gameplay is good enough, and like a movie, you have a suspension of disbelief. On the narrative level, the graphics also play part. The architecture, for example, leaves an idea of something ancient that was lived in. Questions are raised on the nature of this world. Who were these people and why did they leave? The environments have a huge level of details for places where you're only passing by, yet the attention to detail doesn't exist just to impress but also inform the player. More interesting even are the implication that the visual elements raise about Wonder and his abilities. At just a glance, you can see his equestrian talents are worthy of the Cirque du Soleil. The horse obeys without issue, suggesting therefore a long-lasting relationship between the two. The only thing better than his riding ability is his ability with a bow, his main tool. He combines the horse with his ability to shoot arrows to create a form of synergy. On the opposite, we have his ability with a sword. Pathetic. It's clear that through his posture and lack of coordination that he gained the sword only recently, which is confirmed by the game. He's not a sword fighter. That weapon is only there to land a decisive blow. In terms of gameplay, there's three discernible phases. First off, there's the magnificent mare Agro. This woman will follow you to the ends of the earth, but what is remarkable with Agro is that there's truly an impression of controlling a character, controlling a horse. Normally in video games, horses feel like stock cars that are retextured. Here we can see that her movement coincides with the movement of the reins. It's an entire animal that you must stop and turn before going in the direction. Her behavior also helps a lot with immersion. In this version, on the starting screen, Agua moves on her own and starts grazing. She also displays a survival instinct. She doesn't jump from certain heights and follows narrow paths by herself.